Hey, I'm Theo, and welcome to my 1 minute card reviews. Today we will be covering a Warlock, so let's jump right in with the very first card for Warlock, which is the Avant Gardening. A 2 mana spell, discover a Deathrattle minion with a Dark Gift. So here are all the Dark Gifts you can get. And yeah, usually if it's a 2 mana spell that just discovers a minion, it wouldn't be very good, even with a Dark Gift, but the fact that you get a Deathrattle with it makes it a lot better, especially with certain Dark Gifts that you can get. Mostly when you play this, summon a 2/2 copy of it, which is excellent with Deathrattles, or you get Reborn and is Reborn with full health and enchantment, so you get basically 2 minions as well with that, so those are kind of the two you're looking for. So there are some nice Deathrattles you can get with those Dark Gifts, though there's a lot of Deathrattles as well that are pretty expensive, not very good. So yeah, you don't always have the most options with this. And with the Mass Nerfs, I'm gonna zoom a card like this will be playable. And there's some high rolls you can get with it early on. Certain Deathrattles, I'll be giving this card 3 stars. Then the second Dark Gift card we have is the Overgrown Horror, a 5 mana 4/6 Taunt Battlecry. Reduce the cost of minions in your hand with Dark Gifts by 2. Now that obviously works only in a deck with a lot of Dark Gifts, but the problem is there are not really a lot of Dark Gifts that are worth playing. There's obviously the previous card you can play. There's the neutral, the 1/2 that you can play. There's Xaviers you can play. And yeah, all the other Dark Gifts, the neutral ones, I don't think they're really worth playing. So you probably have 5 Dark Gift cards in your deck, is my guess, if you want to play this. And yeah, this card, it's probably only worth it if you reduce 3 Dark Gifts, which means you have to play 3 Dark Gift cards before this, and you have to hold on to them. And then you play this, and then after that you have to play all those Dark Gifts for this to be worth it. It feels like something that is just way too inconsistent to really cheat a lot of mana, and that is the only time this is good. So yeah, I don't think this card is really worth playing in your Dark Gift decks, so I'll be giving this card 1 star. Then we have Wallow the Wretched, a 7 mana 6/6. While this is in your hand or deck, it gains a copy of every Dark Gift given to your minions. So you don't have to play actually the Dark Gifts with it. You just need to have played a card that gives a Dark Gift to a minion. So yeah, obviously this is extremely good when you get the charge in combination with some of the other ones like Divine Shield, Wind Fury, Attack. So yeah, this card can get pretty scary, but again, like I mentioned earlier, there are just not that many good Dark Gift cards. And also this card really depends on which Dark Gifts you get. Like you really need to get at least 1 charge, and it doesn't always happen. And also this means you might want to select on Dark Gifts for this minion, not necessarily for the minion that you're discovering with the Dark Gift. So it makes it a bit more interesting. And also you probably have to wait a long time before you can actually play this, because yeah, you have to play all those Dark Gifts. And again, I think you only play 5 Dark Gift cards max, even in this kind of deck. I think there's potential, especially if you get the charge, Divine Shield, Wind Fury, and 1 attack buff. You can already have a 20 damage card from hand, and that can be pretty powerful, but I think it's very inconsistent, so I'll be giving this card 3 stars. Then we have Archdruid of Thorns, a 2 mana 3/2 Battlecry. Gain the death rattles of your minions that died this turn. So yeah, this card, it's only good if you have minions on the board with Deathrattles, or you somehow played minions with Deathrattles and they died. Basically, the problem with this card is that you really need a Deathrattle on your side of the board for this card to be worth running, and there just aren't that many good Deathrattles to begin with, even in this set. And yeah, then you also need them to die. And then you need to have this card ready to play with 2 mana left. So I'm not really seeing what you want to be doing with it. Like if there's a Deathrattle and the decks are going to start playing this, your opponents are going to focus on killing the Deathrattles, and that's making this one worse. The card could also be a combo card where somehow you stack Deathrattles, kill those off, and then you play this one. I'm not sure which one, but there might be something around. But outside of, yeah, some combo stuff, I feel like this card is going to be really tough to make work with Deathrattles, because it's really hard to make Deathrattles die the turn you want them to, while still having mana left to play this card. So I'll be giving this one 2 stars. Then we got the Hungering Ancient in 8 mana 6/7. At the end of your turn, eat a minion in your deck and gain its stats. Deathrattle, add them to your hand. So you get 1 big minion, especially if you play a lot of big demons or something in your deck. But yeah, the problem is what big minions are you going to be playing in Warlock? I don't think it's really going to be worth building your deck around this, and there's no other good reason to build your deck around it. So you're going to play a bunch of smaller stuff. I feel like the average is going to be maybe like 4/4, 5/5 stats that you're going to get with this. And then that is like a 10/11 or 11/12 minion for 8 mana. With draw that card as well if it dies, and you know, it could be silenced or set. Like, it's really hard to see this card seeing play. Just very expensive, a bunch of stats, and that's it. And then maybe it draws a card a turn later. I don't think that sees any play nowadays. I'll be giving it 1 star. And then we have the big legendary for Warlock. We got Agamagon, a 10 mana 8/9 beast. Battlecry, the next card you play costs your opponent's health instead of mana, up to 10. So this card can kill your opponents, not like your own health where you can't play cards if it would kill you playing them for health. But this one, yeah, it can kill your opponent, so if they're 10 health when you play a 10 mana card with this, they will die. There's not really that many great cards to play 10 or 9 mana. There's a bunch of 8 mana cards you can maybe play, but they're also not amazing, I think. So yeah, that's just the problem with this card is just which cards do you want to play with it? Because it is 10 mana, and yeah, most games you don't go to 10 mana. I mean, if you're playing this card, you're probably playing a slower deck, so then damage might not be as good as in other decks, right? If you're playing a deck that pushes a lot of early damage, then you probably don't have a lot of expensive cards in it, and you rather have something else than this. And if you're playing a slower deck, then just damage isn't going to win the game. Now again, this is a card that could see some combo potential maybe in the future somewhere with some other cards. Right now, yeah, for 10 mana, it just feels too expensive. And I'll be giving this card 2 stars. Then we have the Rothard Dryad, a 1 mana 1/1. Deathrattle, draw a minion that costs 7 or more. So 1 mana to the card, they're always good. But like I said with the previous card, yeah, the 7 mana plus cards for a Warlock, they're not that great. I could see this being played in like a location Warlock because you can maybe play Seaside Giant and you don't actually have to make your deck a lot worse to be able to play this. Also, it's great to consistently get a specific minion if you maybe need it for a combo. Like maybe if there's a combo deck with Agamaga, then you really want that card or a big minion with it, then yeah, this is great to play in it. And also draw Ceaseless, of course, in the slower decks. But yeah, it's only good really in the slower decks. Plus, you can't really immediately use these cards. Like you play this on one, you're gonna have to wait a couple of turns at least to play the card you get of it. But still, I think it's a solid tutor card, and I'll be giving it 3 stars. Then we have the Rotten Apple, a 2 mana spell. Restore 12 health to your hero. For the next 2 turns, deal 3 damage to your hero. So I think this card means that at the start of your next 2 turns, you take 3 damage. So realistically, it's only 2 mana restore 9 for the next turn, and then the turn after, it's only restore 6 total. Unless there's some way you can block that damage you take, but all that stuff, like the fatigue stuff, is going away. So I don't think there's a lot of upside to the taking 3 damage part. So it's basically just a big heal that you get with it. Kind of restore 9 or 6 health. I think we have to look at it, and how good is that for 2 mana? I don't think it's that great. Like, just cards that just heal, that just aren't that good. So a card like this is slightly better in Warlock than any other class because of the life tap. But I think this card can see some play in decks that really wanted health, or against an aggro deck. Then high health really matters because then you maybe survive 1 extra turn. But I don't think it's a great card. Cards nowadays that just heal, yeah, they don't really see much play. So I'll be giving this card 2 stars. Then we have the Fractured Power Spell for 2 mana. Destroy 1 of your mana crystals, in 2 turns gain 2. So I think what this card means is that if you play it on turn 2, it sets you back to 1 mana crystal. So on turn 3 you have 2 mana crystals again. And then you have 5 full mana crystals. And overall, yeah, you gained 1 extra mana crystal, just like Wild Growth for Druid. So compared to Wild Growth, yeah, this card is a lot worse because instead of going from 2 mana Wild Growth to 4 mana to 5 mana, you go from 2 mana to 2 mana to 5 mana. So that means it's 2 mana more expensive than Wild Growth in a way. And that's kind of a problem because, yeah, Wild Growth, it's amazing early on. But yeah, after a few turns, then it got kind of tough to play the Wild Growth. Now late game, you could use it like a Trail Mix for Druid, where you have 2 mana crystals extra maybe in a turn. So yeah, this card will be pretty good turn 2, 3, maybe turn 4. But after that, it's very hard to see play, and while Ramping is nice, I don't think Warlock really has the support, and I don't think you have this card often enough to really make it a great card, so I'll be giving it 2 stars. Then the last card for Warlock is Sleep Paralysis, a 5 mana shadow spell. Choose one. Summon 2 3/6 demons with taunt that can't attack or destroy an enemy minion. So this is another choose one card that just doesn't seem that great. First of all, we got the Assassinate on it, but yeah, 5 mana Assassinate, it's awful. Like, even for 4 mana, Assassinate isn't even close to playable. We already got Siphon Soul, so that is pretty awful. But yeah, I guess you gotta see it as like a nice little bonus that maybe 10% of the time you can use. So that means most of the time it's just gonna be 5 mana, gain 2 3/6 taunts that can't attack. So yeah, the can't attack part, it's a pretty big deal. But it is for 5 mana, 12 health in terms of taunts that you get, and that can be pretty annoying though to get past for decks that focus on the board, and maybe it'll keep you alive for an extra turn because 6 health is pretty difficult to kill, and that means it might be an okay card to play. Yeah, it's not amazing, but I think in combination with the upside of sometimes having a 5 mana Assassinate, I think it might see a little bit of play, and I'll give it 2 stars. And that is it for all the Warlock cards. As you can see, I wasn't too hopeful with these Warlock cards, but maybe there's some combos I'm missing with these cards. Please let me know in the comments what you're going to try out. Are you going to try to make Wallow the Wretched work, or are you going to try anything else with the other Warlock cards? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and until next time.